If someone in Toronto looking to get into real estate,
Yep.
where do I start?
Where you start with is one.
Today we are gathered here
Woo!
to talk real estate with the queen, Jasmine Lee.
I'm 20 years in real estate. I bought my first property 22 years ago for $200,000 in Whitby, and everybody was saying I was crazy to buy a house in Whitby for $200,000, and it was a detached single car garage.
She was featured on CNBC, and she said that she makes her man pay rent to live in her house with her.
Exactly. So flip it now. If you owned a house, you're in it 5 years, you have like 500,000 equity. You start dating a girl, she's gonna come in with her handbag, toothbrush, clothing. What are you gonna say? Are you gonna let her come and stay there for nothing? Are you gonna let her start contributing and then now she's part owner because it's gonna be 50% as common law in Toronto? Or you're gonna let her pay rent and be a tenant, have an agreement so that if anything happens, you guys are tenants. She's a tenant.
I think I'd say.
And it was sad and depressing at that time. And so imagine I didn't make that move and I listened to everything around me saying, don't buy real estate, just rent, because renting was cheaper than owning real estate back then. And I listened to all the noise. Like that one property helped me set up for all my future purchases and my family and the freedom to do what I want, when I want, how I want to.
Who have a certain level of either wealth, health, things of that nature, don't want a man under that.
What, are you speaking on behalf of all women? Like, how dare?
No, hypergamy. No.
No,
I'm not
like,
speaking on behalf of women. I'm talking about what hypergamy is.
No.
Remember, come close to the mic.
Because I'm going to tell you, I have a lot of women that are of good, sound values, characters, up financially, own real estate, and they want to be with a man of, equally yoked, and they're open to building with him. They don't want to. And I'll tell you, I talked to my accountant who does a lot of the top Black professionals. And he's like, most of the men, like, I'll give you an example. When I was single, he's like, Jasmine, you need to date somebody like you. That's where you're at or higher. And I was like, okay, so show me him. Like, where's like single guys that are at my level or higher? He's like, they're married. And I said, you know why? Because they did it together. So I'm not going to meet a man, most likely, that's all put together, credit, house, finances in order, business in order, because a woman usually brings that to the table. You understand? That brings the foundation, organizes so he can focus on hunting. So this is the mindset
what's up, of. Yeah, we're recording, but you can come in and say your thing. We haven't started yet.
Yeah. Oh.
Almost at $100,000 income, and she's madly in love with going to marry a guy who's under 100,000.
And it's usually our Black women that are gonna ride for our Black men. Yeah. If you're half, the dominant gene is Black, so she's Black.
She's
period.
Black,
point blank.
Yeah.
Person happens to be white.
Wow.
She's a snow hopper.
So the thing is that yes, there are some women that look for money, but they may even not even earn anything.
I agree.
And those are the ones you don't want anyways.
Yeah,
exactly.
That trash.
Yeah.
That problems, because that person is going to be a person who's they're with you. You're making 300, but they meet someone who's making 6. All of a sudden,
they're on the ladder.
Exactly.
They're climbing. Exactly.
That's a fact.
So that's why you don't want to either. You want to be transparent, disclose, because that woman can bring so much asset to the table of just helping you check your blind spots, like your credit. How do we get you to 8? You're at 7. Okay. How do we get to 8? How do we get a business line of credit? How do we get grants?
At what point do you think we should talk about that as a couple? Like when your boyfriend and girlfriend should be like, what's your credit score? Let's get that up.
Okay, so what are the stages of dating? Let's take it a few steps back. And this is. I hope we're getting
We're recording.
Okay.
This is all recorded, but the problem is there's not a lot of women that are in jobs, or careers that are based in finance.
That is not true.
No.
Where are you getting these stats from, baby?
I'm saying based in the dating pool. I'm not in the dating pool, so I'm talking about.
No, I see you ringed up.
Yeah, well, I'm married.
He's working on it.
But for me, and what I'm hearing out there, there's not a lot of women. Everything that you just said is 100% correct.
Correct.
But I've never heard ever heard a woman, especially in my age group, speak like that.
What's your age group?
I'm about to be 30 next year.
Oh, you're 30 years old. Well, I'm telling you, as a realtor, I have so many amazing clients, single women that I've helped buy real estate, own real estate. I have one female I'm thinking of right now. She's in her mid to late 30s, a few of them, and they work in wealth management, and they're managing portfolios of like 10 million and up. And I've helped them buy real estate, and they wanted she's like, she's ready to buy another house. I'm thinking about this one client. She's ready to buy her next home, like her forever home, but she's kind of waiting to do it with a partner. Instead of getting that forever home, you start dating, you date, you meet a guy, and he comes over, and all of a sudden, it's shrinkage because he's feeling away. And I've had that too, where I've had couples where a woman has her house together, and the guy comes over and he's like, yo, we need to sell this. We need to start fresh. We need to do this together. It's like, what?
Yeah. And the thing is, too, is that if the woman owns a home and the guy comes in,
yes,
how do you now split those bills?
And how do you feel? Because the thing is, the man feels away because everybody knows it's her house and he's coming into her home but then he doesn't have a home for her to come into.
Exactly. Yo, there's a girl on YouTube, Shelby Church's sister. Shelby Church is like a popular YouTuber, and her sister is a YouTuber as well. She was featured on CNBC, and she said that she makes her man pay rent to live in her house with her. And I'm like, I don't know about that.
But hold on. If he doesn't pay rent, what is he? There's only a few options: pay rent, pay nothing, or
contribute to the mortgage.
Now you're part owner of the house that you never put down for. So this is why she's protecting herself. She's a smart girl. I like her. She's my friend. She's my BFF.
Yeah.
I like her style. Yeah.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one.
Exactly. So flip it now. If you owned a house, you're in it 5 years, you have like 500,000 equity, you start dating a girl, she's going to come in with her handbag, toothbrush, clothing. What are you going to say? Are you going to let her come and stay there for nothing? Are you going to let her start contributing, and then now she's part owner because it's going to be 50% as common law in Toronto? Or you're going to let her pay rent and be a tenant, have an agreement so that if anything happens, you guys are tenants. She's a tenant.
I think I'd say pay specific bills. I put a lot of bills.
Hold on, baby. Pay bills in your household. Now you guys are common law. Common law means now.
Depends on the timing. So common law, I think, is 2 years in Toronto or in Canada. So
18 months. You'd have to double check. You can double check.
Yeah, feel free to look it up, bro.
But what if you're there and it changes to 1 year and you're like, shit.
Well,
at the end of the day, what are you going to do? At 14 months, you're going to be like, hey, we're getting close to the mark. I want you to stop paying all bills. And what are you going to do?
Here's the thing. If a woman, first off, is coming to live with me in my house, we're on the pathway to marriage.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
So within that year, I need to be evaluating and working towards proposing, working towards having her as my wife.
In an ideal situation, but life happens. And what if you don't? And what if you're there and now you're figuring out like maybe this is not the person and you're already past that cohabitation mark where you're now like, it can be split 50-50. Now look at I'm only seeing his teeth right now.
It's only a year.
It's only a year.
Bro! Tighten up. Tighten up right now.
Listen.
Alex, what are we doing?
Listen, can you not find a wife in a year?
No.
No?
No.
Love it. Yeah, you can find a wife in 14 days on Love is Blind.
Sir. I mean, for the long run or for like papers coming from Nigeria?
Nah, for real. I believe if she's living with me day in and day out, then we're working towards getting to a marriage, So,
but what if you now live together and you're like 9 months in, you're not feeling it?
9 months in, I'm not feeling it, then we break up.
You know how hard it is for then one to find a
in
Toronto for her to leave? And then remember, cohabitation is now 1 year.
It's tricky.
It's so tricky.
It's tricky.
It's so tricky. And this is how people get caught up and lose their money. Like I have this one lady from our lawyer. She owned a house. The guy moved in and her boyfriend, and he fixed a couple stuff. Didn't pay anything. Now he's getting half and she has to sell. He is forcing her to sell the house to get his money out of the house.
Hold up.
Yeah.
He went and fixed things across. Hold on, I feel like you skipped over. Excuse me.
There's always more to the story, and I'm not the lawyer, but the lawyer was like, "This is a scenario. I might need you to get involved." But right now, they're at each other's neck.
Okay, all right. So by fixed things, are you saying he
fixed, renovated, improved the house, whatever he saw fit?
All right.
But I didn't say he added a level or he didn't put the down. He didn't pay the mortgage for X amount of years that she bought, but he just came in and maybe, I don't know, to the extent he fixed, upgraded, renovated, helped out. That's what a man's supposed to do. That's what we think as a woman. And he comes in and then now he's fighting her for half, and legally he's entitled to.
Okay, for half is crazy.
That's crazy.
For half is crazy. But shout out to he needs his money. But my guy needs to get paid for his time.
But to what extent?
He needs reparations. Yeah, I'll talk for you. Yeah.
But that what you just said, she expects a level from him as a man.
Yeah.
Just as a man.
She expects a level from him as a man.
There's a lot. You're not asking your girl that you just started dating to come in and pay rent. First of all, that conversation is barely gonna happen. It should.
Who said? In Toronto's market, now, like
As
you
you
have
to
to
a mic.
go.
There's a mic in the
You have to go half and half.
Mm-hmm.
You can't put it all on one person. It's crazy. And usually how couples set it up is like, you pay the mortgage, I pay all the utilities, just like what you were saying earlier. So then who should be compensated based on what? And sometimes now with the utilities are even higher than the mortgage, depending on the property.
Yeah. Back to your example. I was thinking, she pays the utilities. I'd say, hey, until we get married, let's create a contract saying until we're married, something of that nature is mapped out. So you don't own this property, but once we're married, you walk in there. You know?
It's called a cohabitation agreement. It's called a cohabitation agreement for everybody listening. But at the same time, everything can be challenged. So it's like, what do you do? Put yourself in that situation.
Yeah.
And then if you go into the 1 year mark, I even had this girl, I totally forgot, my girlfriend told me her friend was seeing this guy, felt bad for him with his living situation. He moved in. Now he refuses to leave. And she wants to leave, but he refuses to leave. So she can't even leave the place because he's not leaving. And the landlord's like, this is not my tenant, and he's not leaving. And as everybody knows, the laws here are so protective against the tenants versus the landlord. That's where there's things like cash for keys. Landlords are paying tenants $40,000-$50,000 just to get out of the property.
So does he have a key? How did that work?
Yeah, because they're living together, and she was, feeling sorry. He got kicked out or whatever his situation was. He moved into her rental. She's not even an owner, renting, and now she wants to leave, and he won't leave.
Wow.
And her name's on the lease.
Wow. All right, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Welcome back to Hustle Over Everything. I'm Alex, the owner of the show, and today we are gathered here to talk real estate with the queen, Jasmine Lee. How are you doing?
I'm doing
right?
so well. Oh my gosh, Alex, it's so good.
Yes.
What a glow up in here.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Now, for people who don't know who you are, would you mind giving them a 1 minute summation of things that you do?
I'm a real estate investor. I started Airbnb this year. I got to tell you about that too.
Okay.
And I am a boy mom, and I've been doing real estate for 20 years, since 2004.
Okay.
And loving it at different stages of real estate now. And I love helping people, understand real estate, have a conversation, get rid of the fear, the stigmas out of real estate, and just having a conversation and getting rid of the intimidation behind real estate. Because we didn't come out of come into the world, come out of the womb knowing all this. We ask questions and learn and grow from there. And that's how we grow and build.
Most definitely. All right, so let's get into it. I have an icebreaker question for you, but man, the ice is already broken. So, all right, tell us about the Airbnb. How's that going?
Airbnb is interesting. Like these guests be like strongholding you because if you want to get a good review, and they'll complain about the craziest things. You got to protect yourself, dot your I's, cross your T's, like lawyer up, but keep everything in the chat. That's what I tell you. Keep everything in the Airbnb chat. Don't take it out so you have evidence. But it's been really good so far. And as an investor in real estate, especially in the condo market, which we were touching on earlier, majority of condo owners, new construction owners, you're coming out of pocket minimum $1,000 to $1,500 every month. Shortfall. It's not cash flowing, majority of people. So I'm like, I'm either going to do that or I'm going to turn to a business like Airbnb because I'm not comfortable with taking losses. I don't like L's. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to do the short-term Airbnb, and it's working out really well. But keep in mind, guys, with Airbnb, especially when you buy a condo, you got to get permission from the city. You got to get permission from the building. It's a lot of work to do. But now that's up and running, we love it. Got you.
Now, let's talk about on the topic of Airbnbs, right? There's people who make the fees on fees, cleaning fee, maintenance fee, garbage fee. All right, are you doing that? Are you seeing that works?
It's a business, right? So you got to keep a pulse on like the numbers, what's happening, but you still have to pay your cleaners. And ever since COVID happened, these cleaners are like, I want $40, $50 cash per hour minimum. And when they come into your Airbnb, they're looking at least a 3 to 6 hour clean, depending. So it's justifiable. But again, like when you tack on all the fees and you figure out like the rental rate, you compare it to a hotel. So you really got to know your market as well. It's a business.
How profitable is Airbnb for you?
For me, I was that's a great question. On average, the rents in my building for a 2-bedroom in Dan was about $3,000 to $3,200. On average, I'm making about $200 to $300 a night. And I've had about 80 to 90% occupancy.
Okay. Got you. So I do the math in my head. I'm like, carry the one.
But then also
right.
the expenses, right? So there's also the expenses like the cleaning ladies, the supplies and everything. Like, but one thing I do love, we still have access to our unit. We still have access to the amenities. We still like, so like I can go from my house to my condo for the weekend, have a staycation. I can offer it to guests of my clients if they're in between properties. So I like that option too.
That's really cool. That's really cool. Now, was there a lot of unexpected fees that came with being an Airbnb owner?
The licensing fees, I would say not really the fees. With Airbnb, it's just making sure it's legit. Because Airbnb, to even have it listed for a short-term rental, you need a license in Toronto. And they won't let you list your property unless you have the license number and they verify it. So to get the license is a whole nother trip. Some people it takes weeks. For me, it took months to get my license. Like I had to run up in the office because I'm that girl. Like I'm not getting an answer. I'm going to be at the office at the front.
There's an Airbnb license office?
Well, Toronto licensing office, yeah.
Oh.
It's at Markham and Fort One.
Okay.
So I went there and then I happened to know the guy.
Markham and Fort One's in Scarborough.
In Scarborough, yeah. So to get the license, a whole nother situation. But I got my license approved like months later. So until it got approved, I was doing 30 days. So it's called midterm stays, 30-day minimum, which worked out.
Interesting. All right. So the biggest challenge was the licensing.
That would be the biggest. And then getting set up and making sure you have everything for the guests. And you won't have it all figured out. You're going to learn along the way. But one of the things I loved about like what made me even get into Airbnb, because I was talking to one of my realtor partners and she just was being very transparent. And she's like, this is my calendar. This is my bookings. Look at the calendar. And this is how much I'm charging. And it's getting booked up. I'm like, wow, okay, it's go time. So this is why I like to have these conversations, show the playbook. Like if I'm going to somebody and they say they want to manage my money, show me how you're managing your money. Don't tell me what you're going to do with mine. Show me what you've done. And then, okay, then now we're talking. Because if you haven't done it, how are you going to tell me what to do?
Yeah, I hear that. Now, what have you had any Airbnb horror stories?
Horror stories. Okay, so we had this guest that was like, sent me pictures and was like, I think we have bed bugs. I was like, frick. I was like, when all of our mattresses have bed bug protectors, so there's absolutely no way we can have bed bugs. But I was like, anyways, I called the bed bug company. They came down and through the conversation, the inspector was like, we inspected, there's absolutely no bed bugs. But he did mention to me that he was at his cottage, so he might have gotten the bites from his cottage. But I mean, when somebody's sending you pictures of like red bumps all over their body, I'm grossed out. I'm like, frig, I've never even seen a bed bug. And I'm like, I don't want to go back to this condo ever again. But thankfully, he said, it's definitely not bed bugs. The guests didn't come back. But sometimes that's what I'm telling you with Airbnb, you have to document everything because they could have been coming back at me for like a full refund or whatever compensation. So that's why you got to dot your I's and cross your T's.
Jeez,
yeah.
That's scary.
Yeah, trust
Very
me.
Scary. All right, now that's scary, but you know what's actually scary right now? The Toronto real estate market. Because, hold up. I know you want to talk, but I gotta say
I'm ready for you. Let's go.
It feels like depression.
Yes.
It feels down. It feels
but
like
what are
it's
we
a pipe
depressed
dream.
about?
Because it feels impossible to get a house right now.
Fair enough. Okay, so let me just tell you this. I'm 20 years in real estate. I bought my first property 22 years ago for $200,000 in Whitby. And everybody was saying I was crazy to buy a house in Whitby for $200,000. And it was a detached single car garage. And it was sad and depressing at that time. And so imagine I didn't make that move and I listened to everything around me saying, don't buy real estate, just rent, because renting was cheaper than owning real estate back then. And I listened to all the noise. Like that one property helped me set up for all my future purchases and my family and the freedom to do what I want, when I want, how I want to.
Got it.
So let's start there. Yeah.
I feel that.
So let's shift the mindset. Like if somebody says, Jasmine, you can't do this, that's okay. I can't do it with you. That's fine. So I'll give you an example. Even when I closed on my condo, I got an approval from the builder's mortgage company at the time when I purchased it like 5 years ago. And this is why I want to tell you about pre-construction. It's not for everybody, but 30 days before closing, they told me, Jazz, you put down 20%, which was $140,000, which is typical for new construction, minimum 20% down they want. Then they said on 30 days before closing, you need 10% more because the numbers are not there. The appraisal is lower than expected and you need 10% more, which is 70. You know, this is why I don't recommend pre-construction to everybody because there's a lot of unexpected charges, fees that come up with pre-con because you don't know where the market's going to be in 7 years. And I got to talk to you about that hustle. And I was like, that's okay. If you're not going to do it, somebody's going to do it for 20% because I'm not putting another 10% down. I don't love this condo like that. I'll find it if I have to, but I'm not in a position that I have to. So I went to my other mortgage brokers. I'm like, who's going to do this? Because I need magic and a magician. And I got it done. And that's how it goes. Like, I don't take no for an answer, because if I can go through the front door, I'm going through the side or the back door, and I do that for me and my clients. So back to new construction, to be straight shooters with you, the builders offer anywhere from like 4 to even 10% commission. So a lot of realtors like new construction because you're making double to triple that what you'd make on resale. I don't push it to everybody, especially in our community, because they don't have the financial history, generational wealth, understanding, and preparedness for the what ifs. And a lot of these realtors, in the market being so hot, pushed, you can assign it. You can sell it before closing. You can make bank. And guess what? They didn't prepare them for plan A, assigning it. Plan B, if it doesn't, the numbers are not there to sell it, that they have to close. They have to be ready to close. A lot of people aren't ready. And that's why we're seeing a lot of, assignments on Facebook saying they lost money or condos can't sell, can't close, can't move. We're seeing a lot of that now. And unfortunately, we're seeing a lot in our own community.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, people are hurting. If you go on Facebook Marketplace and look up assignments, you'll see like bought it for $700, selling for $650, $500. I need to get out of it. They're willing to walk away from their 20% deposit because the appraisals are not there. So let's say they bought it for 1.2 and now it's valued at 800. Even though they put 20% down, if the appraisal came back at 800 and they bought it for 1.2, they have to pay the difference.
Oh. So
it doesn't matter what you're willing to pay. The bank's only going to finance X amount based on the appraisal.
Got you. And because of the new appraisals, because the condo market's on a downshift, people aren't getting their money back. Or
yeah, and buyers are smartening up. They don't want a 500 square foot condo with no windows facing the gardener. You know what I mean? With no parking.
Yeah.
They're smartening up. And now to be straight, like, this is for me. I stay close to the street. So I'm like talking to like the front desk at the builder sites. Like, I'm friends with them, not just like the builder themselves. There's like, Jazz, things are not moving. They're shutting down sites. People are going to the head office because there's just not enough traffic, not enough activity, and projects are getting pushed out, or they're closing down projects because the sales are just not there. What's really booming right now is the detached market. We're finding a lot more people entering to detached. A lot of our clients are moving up because detached were so high at one point, but now that people are holding back and the market is where it is, they're more now, okay, now I can get into a detached. So you're seeing a lot more bidding wars are back with that. Holding offers are back with detached, but condos, very sluggish. And then the numbers are not there. So as a condo investor, you're buying them with the appreciation, not for the cash flow. And that's 101 real estate do not do. Do not buy in appreciation, buy in cash flow. And condos are just not cash flowing.
The more subscribers we get, the better the guests get. So please hit subscribe and support this Black-owned independent podcast. All right, see you in the show. For someone that's trying to get into real estate right now, feeling that depressed mindset.
Defeated. Okay, let's start with first. If you're renting, stop saying I'm just renting. Don't do that. Or I'm living with family. I'm living with my parents still. Don't do that, because other cultures, they are glorified for still living with their family and investing in real estate. Our community, for some reason, it's like, I live with my parents is a stigma. It's a bad thing. Like, stay with your family, stack. I have clients that, they live with their family and they own real estate and they're still stacking. Like, that's a good thing. In this market, why not? Right? So first, I would say, let's get rid of the stigma. And if you don't equate owning real estate in Toronto to your confidence, to your personal goals. Like, start thinking outside of the market, because a lot of people are renting where they can afford and they're investing in around the world. Like, we were talking earlier, like Ohio penthouse versus Toronto penthouse, right?
Yeah.
So like, now the world is borderless. Like, people are working wherever they want. So I tell young people now, stop focus, like really, really think about where you're planting your roots. Toronto might not be it. And this is coming from a real estate investor myself, and I'm born here as well. But it's like, we're getting taxed so crazy. The quality of life, it's pitch dark at 5 p.m. right now in November. Like, think about what will truly make you happy at the end of the day. Like, people right now are just hustling too hard for what type of quality of life.
So where do you see people getting into the market?
Everywhere. So I have clients, Ghana, Dominican Republic, Costa Rica, Bahamas, DR is big. It's crazy affordable. Mexico, like, people are buying all over the world now. It's borderless. I have a client, we sold their house in Pickering for like 2.5, and they bought in Mexico by the waterfront. Like, my assistant said something funny to me, and she's just like, when I was growing up, I didn't think $1 million would look like this. And she's talking about a townhouse in Ajax, right? She's like, I didn't think $1 million was going to look like this. But I'll tell you, what they bought in Mexico, I was like, God damn. I was like, that's what a multi-million-dollar property is supposed to look like. Waterfront, pool on top, double car garage, like 3 stories, nanny suite. Like, it had the wow factor. Like, $1 million in Toronto really is not that impressive.
At all.
At all. Hand clap, snap,
all.
snap. Like it's not.
Yeah.
Like, let's be real. And that's sad. And like one of the clips that you sent me, you're like, they're now saying they're going to now change the mortgage rule so you can do 5% on $1 million. It's really a sad state.
Yeah.
And so you got to think like, and then what is that going to cost you per month? So I don't believe in, I'm a realtor. I make money when you buy and sell real estate, but I don't want my clients to be house poor. I don't feel good about that.
A lot of people are house poor.
A lot of people are house poor.
Yeah.
So like for us, we've always gone above and beyond. And some people might say like, why do you need all this info? I don't need it. I'm dotting your I's and crossing your T's. So I'm like, do a budget before you buy real estate. And then when we're doing your pre-approval and we get the numbers, let's plug in the numbers to your budget to see what that now looks like. Are you still able to go to the movies and buy popcorn? Or it's like no movies, no popcorn for 5 years. Like what's life going to be like? Is it worth it?
And I think the challenge people think is, am I making enough money to even start to budget, right? And I think...
Hold on, let's stop there. Are we making enough money to budget? If you're...
To budget for a house.
Okay, hold on. So this is where I say to people, go get a pre-approval. Do not use those calculators online because it's all wrong. They don't know your debts and everything. So speak to a mortgage broker. It's free. And then that way you'll know what your whole plan is, like what your approval looks like. Because some people are like, oh, my first house, how much do you think you need, Alex, as an example? How much do you think you need for your first home purchase?
$60,000.
What would be your purchase price?
I think probably 600,000 in like Kawartha Lakes.
So you're thinking about 10%. Kawartha Lakes is nice as long as you can work and live there. But if you have to like live there and work in the city,
it's a wrap.
Exactly. So these are the kind of conversation I ask. I dig further because I'm like, what kind of quality of life are you going to have? Is it worth it? Are you going to be in traffic 2 hours going and 2 hours coming home? When are you going to ever see your family? When are you going to enjoy your home that you're working so hard for, right? So 10% you're looking at. Maybe if you did an approval, the numbers might be a little higher or lower, but at least you know what you can budget for. So this is why before you even budget for a house, get an approval. Then you'll know, okay, I need 60, I need 70. Maybe I only need 50,000 for a purchase for my first one. And then let's budget towards. So that means I'm saving 5,000 X amount of months to get to my down payment.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying is that if you're looking like, I got to save 5,000, they start rubbing their knees like 5,000 a month?
Or we can go to the banks of mom and dad, which I always talk about as well.
And everyone has mom and dad to go to.
True. I agree. And this is not a play for everybody. But if you have that conversation or the opportunity, let's do it. Right? I didn't have support from my family to purchase real estate. I did it on my own. But then like some of our clients that are buying on their own, they might take an extra job of like doing Uber. They might, create a side hustle. You might do podcasts for other businesses and make money from that to then that's your down payment money, right? But at least okay, I need 50. So how long is it going to take me to save 50 if I do X, Y, and Z? And I'm not saying to start trapping. That's not what I said. Because I know it feels like that in Toronto right now. I didn't say that.
It feels like you got to start trapping, You got to be Griselda Blanco just to make it out into a house. No, for real. All right. Now, one thing I actually wanted to talk to you about is that because I was doing some research and it was like the average the average income you have to afford a house is $180,000.
Combined household income.
Combined household income. Combined household income.
So there's now with the numbers where it's at, there's a lot more skin in the game. So it's not you buying on your own. You might have a co-signer, and then later on in life, when the numbers increase and your mortgage goes down, then you can take them off. So this is why you talk to a mortgage broker so they can set you up and find out like, okay, on your own, this is what you qualify for. So when I have conversations with first-time buyers, it's like, this is what you qualify for on your own. But if you got your mom involved, then this is what it looks like. And some people are like, I don't want to ask my mom. I don't know. Well, let's ask her first and see if it's even an option. Can she co-sign for you? And then once you see what the numbers look like, then you can have that further conversation. Okay, this looks good with you. Are you open to doing it? Oh, well, you're not even an option, so don't even worry about it, right? Because you have too much debt or whatever, right? And it's better to just do it on your own. Or if I can only do 300 on my own, then I'll buy a condo in Niagara instead of the city, and then I'll rent in the city and have a condo in Niagara or Dominican or wherever, right?
Yeah. Isaac, I feel like you have a question brewing.
No, this is like the best real estate conversation.
Thank you.
I've shot hundreds of real estate competitions.
Wow.
This is like the most real, the best.
And that's how it should be. And to be straight up, like I grew up in Scarborough in government housing. So when my real estate team comes to my house, they think this is all I've like this multi-million-dollar house is like all I've ever known. No, I lived in an apartment. Sometimes the elevators broke down and like we're walking to your suite and we saw a bum. Like that was real life, right? But it's like, you can create whatever you want. So an example, people always remind me growing up, they would say, Jasmine, where do you live? I'm like, this is where my mom lives. And they're like, your mom lives? I'm like, yeah, that's not where I'm going to raise my kids. And they're just like, you used to say that all the time when we were growing up. And it's like, whatever you manifest is real, right?
What are some of the things you manifested as a kid?
So I always said I'd have a nanny. And listen, there's pros and cons with the nanny, okay? I've always said I'd have help with my son. And now that my son is 9, I'm like, I wish I wanted a nanny, but I wish I was more present. So those are the things like you realize, like now he's homeschooled because I want to make up for all the time that I had a nanny with him full time. And I was hustling even more now because I had to now take care of the nanny and him and the regular bills. So instead of, I could have just scaled back work and spent more time with my son growing up.
What made you want to choose a nanny and homeschooling? Because that's 2 different things. So,
there's 2 different things. Yeah. So the nanny is because the level I was hustling at when I had him is like, I needed a nanny.
For sure.
Right. Because back then, before COVID, you're just like, you can't have your kid screaming on a call with a client. Now it's Zoom. It's just like everybody knows sometimes my son's going to come in the Zoom camera call and start dancing for you. Like it's like to be expected and like we can enjoy it. But before COVID, it was like everything had to be straight, prim, proper. Like but now we're like real life. Everything's integrated and meshed together. Right. So for homeschool for me was important because Cartier was in a Montessori and the CEO. And I remember they didn't have enough girls in the class. So we went to like this dance recital and they made my son dance with another boy. And the boy spinned my son around. And yeah, I'm like, his godson was like, ooh. And everybody was like, the whole family was there, like, what's going on? So nobody slept that night, got up early, spoke to the principal. She's just like, I'm like, you need to tell me about this before. And I would tell you, he could sit this one out. So like it didn't align. And then we switched schools and then he had a bully situation. And I spoke to the school, got us together as parents. I spoke to the other parent. And the parent was like, my kid's bad, Jasmine. Like just bad. Like I can't control him. He's just bad. So then I had to talk to his kid and tell him it's not going to work like that.
Yo.
Yeah, it was one of those.
Pull up on.
I was like, listen here. I was like, listen, touch my son again. But I was and then my son was like over it and he thrives in homeschool. It's not for every child. You got like every child's different. I have one. So and we did the homeschool during COVID and he was like, he likes this. So now we found an international school that he does homeschool with. And it's self-paced, which I love. It's self-paced. He finishes school in 3 hours. We can travel as much as we want to. And he does it online and he fast tracks. So he's going to be finished grade 4 way earlier. And he's learning things standard in school, like emotional intelligence, coding, business, engineering. These are things I used to pay for in addition to his Montessori. Mm-hmm. So now he's learning it within his curriculum, which I love.
Wow. Mm-hmm. That's interesting. And it's all included into one package. Mm-hmm. I didn't know. And
also, I have an app where I can check, did he finish his homework? Did he do everything? Like typical school, you'll find out like 3 months later what grade he's at. No. I know.
The agenda.
It's like,
oh my God.
It's like get the belt.
Yeah.
Get the belt.
Nothing like the agenda. Yo, I'll never forget. Growing up, I was a bad kid, right?
Alex, how bad was bad?
All right, I'll tell you how bad. I had a teacher spend her whole lunch writing in my agenda. Literally, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday was one note to send to my mom.
What?
And it's like,
to your Jamaican mother?
To my Jamaican mother.
What parish is she from in Jamaica?
She is from St. Mary.
Oh, no.
From the country. It was not pretty.
It's not pretty.
It was not pretty. I needed eyeglasses for early. Not play. But yeah, it was something. And the agenda was something. So that's really cool that
so I can check every day what assignment he's done, what grade he's got, and his GPA is 3.9. So he's in American school, so he's a GPA.
Oh, it's an American school. Mm-hmm. Interesting. Okay, cool. I'm curious, on the topic of kids, what would be some of the things your younger self would be proud of you for?
The books that I read. The boundaries that I set. Like not everybody needs access to you. And you want to hang around people that are going places, and you're going to have different friends. Like, I always see people on Instagram complaining, oh, my friend group, they don't travel, then find friends that travel. My friends are not making money, then find friends that you can make money with. that are going to, expand your thought, your finances, your business. Like hang around people that are doing things that you want to do.
How do you make friends as a grown woman?
That's a great question. There's so many ways now, like going to different events. Eventbrite's great. Meetup is another website. Facebook, Instagram. Like for me, I was at an age where my friends all had kids and they couldn't travel. So I found this travel group, and it was a group of Black women from all over the world traveling together. And I have clients that will say, Jasmine, like I'm at a stage in my life, like I'm single, I have no kids, and I want to travel. And all my friends are like booed up, mortgages, they can't travel. So I'll share like some of the travel groups I travel with as a single woman. Sometimes you don't want to travel with your family or your friends and have to organize everything. You just show up and everything's booked for you, from like the photo shoots, the excursions, the drivers, everything's done.
Interesting. Yeah, I think
You
all the
like.
time as how to make friends as a grown man.
Yeah.
It's I think it's very tough. I think women
Why?
I think women have a lot easier.
Oh, no. So
yes.
we've been doing this all day. Hold on, Alex. You're always saying like women this, men that.
No. For this one, I'm confident.
Sorry.
I'm confident.
How long have you guys known each other?
From time now, what, 2.5 years?
So that's not a long time. No, that's not time. 2.5 years is not time, Alex.
And
2.5 is like fresh.
2.5 is fresh?
Yes.
2.5 isn't fresh.
Like
but
I
it's
have friends.
2.5. All right. What relationship and only time 2.5 is fresh is if we were working towards marriage.
No. Okay, hold on.
Yeah,
My best friend is a guy friend, and I know him for over 35 years. We're in elementary school together.
Wow.
And I beat him up in elementary school.
You beat him up?
I beat his ass up, and then his mom.
Break this down.
Yes.
No.
So
How'd you beat him up?
I don't know. He was harassing me in school, and he's Jamaican too. So I got him on the floor, and I was like just giving him the fisting. And then his mom called a meeting at the school, and then my mom. What happened was he said, his mom's like, "Oh, your daughter's beating up my son," and my mom's like, "Your son allowed my daughter to beat him up." so that didn't end well. And we grew up. Yeah, we know. Like if we're gonna get into a fight, we better win or like don't. Yeah, that wasn't an option to lose. So, anyways.
At the same time, though.
Yes.
As a young boy,
yes.
I'm not gonna tell my young son
I
to
agree.
beat up the daughter.
I agree.
Or beat
Me
up
too.
The woman.
I agree, but it was bad. So then, and we just been friends ever since. And I was his, best woman, best man at his wedding. I introduced him to his wife. So we've been friends in different seasons. And again, like you said, how do you make friends? You're going to have different friends. Like you're going to have work friends. You're going to have travel friends. You're going to have like friends that you're going to have the talk with. Like one of my tenants, he's in his 30s and he was telling me like his guy group, they get on calls and they're frustrated about the real estate market. They were like crying. They're so frustrated about like things they can and cannot do. And, seeing other people, older people driving the dream car and they can't get it now. I'm like, it's like you're getting frustrated on the wrong things. And the worst thing that's stealing people's joy today in this day and age is the comparison. That is stealing people's joy. We're going all over the place, but there's so many hot topics.
All right.
Yeah.
So let's put a button on meeting friends as an adult, and then we can move on to the comparison.
Yeah.
And this, I don't get into the he, she.
Yeah.
This is a business pod,
Yeah.
But the reason why I say that isn't a matter of who's entitled to more things or not. I'm saying who has more options. For example.
Alex.
Yes. Right. Alumni of the show, Curly Girl Meetup. It's a great way to meet other women, right?
Yes.
That's a great option.
Okay, hold on. Black men meeting up in Toronto. Do you know the name of any of them?
ISI. Iron sharpens iron.
There you go.
That is one. I'm a part of that.
Nice.
Even being a part of that, making friends within that is still challenging. So
why? But you're a bit of an introvert. Let's be real, Alex.
I'm not an introvert. I'm an introvert.
Hold on. Is he a bit of an introvert?
No,
Thank you.
Hold on. In groups. No, one-on-one.
I don't know that because me and Alex are more like business friends, right?
In a group setting, Alex.
I'm friendly. I'm friendly. Listen, you've seen me out.
You're not an extrovert though.
I'm not an extrovert.
I didn't say you're not friendly. You are friendly.
There's levels to an extrovert.
And I'll tell you, the biggest thing I'll tell you with women and men, especially I tell Black women and women of color, smile. That's the biggest thing.
You can't tell a Black woman to smile.
Ooh.
Why not? Be telling Black women to smile?
I mean, and men too, because there's Black friendly men and there's men that are screw face, and it's the same with Black women. And I say the best thing you can do is just smile, like be open hearted for opportunities, and you'll meet people. Mm-hmm. And like you're saying, you're hard to meet friends. Everybody you're meeting on the podcast, like you can stay in touch with them. You don't just have to text me when you want to do a podcast, Alex. You can just hit me up.
I'm not just saying it as myself. I'm talking about the options that the everyday guy has.
And I'll tell you, and I tell people this because I hear this a lot too, and I meet so many people on social media too that have turned into friendships and business and opportunities, all kind of things. But it's just be the friend that you want to have. that's just the rule of thumb, and you'll have abundance of friends to pick and choose from. Like I don't wait to the end of the year to clean house. I clean house all the time. So if I feel like I have a friend that's always just wanting to link and want me to organize, plan, book, schedule, send it to her calendar, then like relationships are a dance. Like I had a girlfriend, she really appreciated me. She's like, Jazz, come over on Sunday. This was Sunday that passed. And she had a spread. She ordered Thai food. She had a charcuterie board. She had desserts. She had a champagne for us. Like my friends romanticize me. They appreciate me.
Boom. So my boy comes over and he's like, yo, I have a charcuterie board for you. Like, yo, are we dating? Pause. What's going on? And that is it right there. You've broken it down. The women have an ability to become engaging super quickly. They can romance each other. You just shown it. Men cannot romance each other.
Oh, no, but Nikki... Okay, now I'm saying my friend Nikki. Shout out Nikki, my baby. We've been friends for many years. Okay. And we kind of started with a real estate conversation. And then now we're like, she's like my cancer sister. She's like, she's my big sis. I'm her big sis sometimes. But yeah, it's like, why not have your guy pull out the charcuterie board? Hold on, were the candles lit? Were the candles lit, Alex?
Were candles lit? Candles lit with another man is, listen.
There was no candles lit, Alex.
What did you say? Oop. Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. There's a romance. That's perfectly put. There's a romance. Well,
but for me, I'm a hopeless romantic. I'm a Cancer, so like it's a dance. So let's take away the romance. That's just my preference. But I think in all relationship is a dance. It's like business. Like some people will come to me, be like, I'm a cleaner. Can you get me cleaning jobs? Yes, I will. I will help you out, but it goes both ways. Like post my business on your stories. Let's refer clients. Let's let the dance go both ways. The highway goes both ways. When you dance, it has to go both ways. It can't just be coming to me like, hey, I got this business. I want to do photography and video for your listings. Sometimes they hit us up and they'll be like, I'll do first couple of shoots for free. And I'm like, that's amazing. So now I can see your work. Then I can refer you out. Like it's a dance.
It's a dance. And if you dance too heavy one way, trying to be all usy,
then I'll pull back my energy. I ain't got time.
For sure. Yeah. And I think that's where guys have a challenge actually. Because you can't be as givey. Because there's a big thing for guys to be, he's glazing. He's
glazing.
Glazing's a bit. I'm gonna put you on to the young man terms. Glazing is a big thing. Like, he's glazing me right now. Why is he calling me? He's glazing.
But hold on, men have, like you said, Iron Sharpens Iron is a big community in Toronto. Shout out Troy Crossfield.
Shout out Troy.
Then you guys have sports. Women don't have that. You guys can go to sports bars.
Women have sports.
No, like in abundance, like you guys have that, are like women go to your sport events and hang out. Like we're not really going to the WNBA games, like.
Not yet.
Exactly.
But there
so
is
you have so many
opportunities.
There's so many opportunities to meet people. It's just who do you want to meet and how you want to meet them. But you should be meeting people in every different stage of your life because you're evolving and growing, and your circle should be like that. Reflection.
I agree. I feel like your circle should be evolving. I find that as I grow older and as the guys around me grow older, the more they get into their silos. So it makes it even tougher to be able to get out of that shell. There is networking events. There is sports. But even in those sports, those silos have already been created. So you have to break into those silos.
So I'm going to give an example. My partner in real estate, she is from the Filipino community, one of my partners. And I love the way they do community and they do family and friendship. Like they're just eating together 3 times a week for no reason. Yeah. Like for us Caribbean people, we need a reason to meet up. You know what I mean? And we might see each other once a year.
When someone dies.
Yeah, when somebody dies, it's so sad. It's sad. I'm like, you're going to Jamaica? Yeah, for another funeral. Like, why are you only going back to Jamaica for a funeral?
For sure.
I am so tired of that.
For sure, yeah. I'm about to go to Jamaica too. My grandfather died today.
Babe. My condolences for that. Okay, but this is a reminder to me to live. I don't do funerals personally. Everybody knows that. Because it's about celebration of life and living. Not about their mourning the dead. If you're going to have a funeral where everybody's bawling, I'm not there. I'm not doing that. I haven't been to a funeral in like forever.
Really? I understand that. You want to keep that memory of that person alive.
Yeah, and even if you look at the body, it looks nothing like the person. So what's the point? Like for my dad, I cremated him. I didn't do a funeral, and I have a bench near my house in celebration of him. So like when I had my son, that bench was near our home, and we'd go there and he'd be playing and we'd sit at the bench. But I feel like my dad's presence with me every day. And when life gets hard or like when life is good, or if I have something to tell him, or I will speak to my father, I feel like he's there with me in his presence.
Yeah, I hear that. It is tougher when you see someone on the other side of it, and they are nothing like the same. I actually just had an uncle pass, and because he was a dark skinned Jamaican man, so for the first time, he actually looked like the cat, he looked like the person in the casket, because they usually just put on black thing on,
like,
and it's
yeah,
horrible.
okay,
You know what I'm saying?
the makeup's the
is
worst.
just black.
The makeup's the worst.
It's
The
just
wig's the
brown.
worst. Like, oh my gosh,
Oh,
Alex. But okay, so
that's a
I know
business. Okay, go ahead. No, I was gonna say like there could be like a good like black makeup for funerals business.
Look where we reach, Alex. Look where we reach. But really, why we bring them is just about living and enjoying and just finding joy in every single day instead of just waiting to live. And like too much of our Caribbean people are like, so we're back to real estate, owning homes. And it's just like, they want to just forget everything. They want to hustle so hard to get in this house. And then they hustle so hard to keep it that they don't enjoy their home. They don't live. There's nobody here. They don't enjoy their house. They don't bring people over. They're not celebrating. So like, what's the point? Like your home's becoming now your prison, right? So that's unfortunate, especially now with the rates going up. There's a lot more calls of like people being tight, behind, and just waiting too late to make the changes that is needed to protect themselves and insulate themselves for that financial situation of rates going up and now your payments increase by $500,000 or plus, right? Or your renewal, you're coming from a 2% interest rate to now 6 and 7. Now your payments have completely changed. Are you ready for that?
Yeah. So we're working towards wrapping up. I'm going to ask you the same question that we went viral for
oh my gosh,
years ago. If I'm someone in Toronto looking to get into real estate, where do I start?
Where you start with is one, block out all the noise, block out all the social media that says you can or cannot do it. Block out the family and friends, and only talk to people who are going to pour good energy into what you're doing. And you might realize that it might be nobody. And you are just talking to your trusted advisors, and you're talking to the mortgage agent who actually cares. And you might not be a 3 or 6 month client, but somebody who's willing to ride with you for a year or 2 years till you get your money, your credit together, and is willing to ride with you for that term. And be loyal to that person, because if they're going to pour into you, once your credit's right, your money's right, don't just jump ship to somebody else. So work with that person first as the mortgage person. So we got a whole team ready for you. Our mortgage person is going to go through things with you. We'll go through things with you too. And then once you get there, I would love for you to do a budget so you know what's happening. Is it worth it? I don't want you to be house poor. And then we can start house hunting, and we can do all the sexy fun stuff. The house hunting is the easy part. It's the financial stuff that is the work that a lot of people avoid. And the biggest mistake people are doing is, either saying, I can't do it. It's overwhelming. I'm depressed. We've done nothing about it, but we're already depressed and stressed. We don't even have an approval or a game plan. We haven't even spoken to a financial advisor, but we're already depressed and stressed. So getting into the market is not easy, but it can be done. And a lot of people, in our community, we don't ask for help until it's too late. Or like I have clients that I say, I want to bring in a financial advisor. I want to have a meeting talking about finances, how to grow your money, make more money, and protect your money. And I'm already having that conversation with friends and clients, and they're already saying like, I don't want to have the conversation yet because I'm not where I'm supposed to be. But how are you supposed to get there if you don't speak to the professional? Because if you keep doing what you've always done is rely on yourself, and you don't have those tools, it wasn't taught in your family, like how are you going to be better than you are today? So speaking to the professionals, and again, it's completely free. Like our mortgage agents get paid by the banks and the mortgage company. So there's no fee to you to even consult with them. So why wouldn't you? So you put your ego aside, put your pride aside, and let's get to the bag together. Let me help you. That's what I would say.
Boom. Nicely said. And last question for the entrepreneurs in the room. How do you suggest they get into real estate? Because they have inconsistent incomes. One day it's a farm, next day it's a famine.
Exactly. And I'm an entrepreneur too. And keep in mind, in real estate, we are commission based. So no month is the same. And historically in real estate, we have a spring market where it's a very boom, and then the winters are slower because people don't want to move during snow. So we get it. We understand. Our team's got you. And this is why, especially for entrepreneurs, we have to plan like 3 or 4 years ahead. So as an entrepreneur, a lot of entrepreneurs like to, drill down their income as low as possible so they don't pay as much taxes. That works to save money, but when you're looking to get a mortgage, you're going to be in a problem. So this is why we need to plan 3 to 4 years ahead so you can have the income right, so you can get approved for a mortgage, and your accountant and your mortgage advisor would get them all together so we're on the same page to build out that plan for you as an entrepreneur.
Love it. Ladies and gentlemen, I know you enjoyed this episode. First things first, if you enjoyed it, I need to take a screenshot off your phone or your TV, take a photo, and share it on your stories. So when you're there for a day, share it on your stories. Let us know that we did a good job. Please, I'll say that one more time. Take a screenshot and share it on your stories. Let people know that this was a good episode.
And share what you got from it. So don't hoard the information, share it. Like, even one of the things we say is, like, we've been doing it for years, is like pulling your credit. And we kind of touched on it with couples. It's like, pull your credit every first of the month, and you don't have to share it with me, but do it within your friend circle, do it within your family, so that you guys are all building and growing your credit together. And it's kind of a challenge. Like, every first of the month, we play like the Bone Thugs and Harmonies, the first of the month. Pull your credit, see what's happening, so you can make sure there's no fraud, discrepancies, anything happening, and it's growing. And do that with your friend circle, your friends, your boyfriend, your fiance, your husband. Like, have those financial conversations as a community. Like, this generation, I'll tell you, is like really in it. Like, they're open, honest, they're getting the gems. I was just at a Black Smoke conference, and we're having those conversations, and they're just way more aware, and we're way more open. So I'm really proud of all these movements that you're doing, things like this, but don't hoard the information, share it.
Most definitely. Is there anything we didn't cover that you'd like to cover?
There's so much. Like, time just flew by. Like, we went from finances, real estate, to like funerals, to Jamaica.
Yeah.
I would say, like, really enjoy the life that we have, right? And find joy every single day. And, have conversations with people. Don't just keep it all in, because a lot of people are like doing the comparison syndrome with social media, or just doing life alone. And in our community, don't do life alone. Yeah.
100%. Where can people find you?
Instagram is the best way, the Jasmine Lee team. And Alex, thank you again, once again. And I'm so happy for us. Thank you.
Another banger.
Woo!
With that being said, this is what you can't control. So control your grind and control your life. I'm Alex.
Jasmine, thank you.
That's the show, y'all. Peace.
Bye.